Happy 4th episode to everybody. Today I really have a treat for you. This lady is really dear to my heart. An amazing woman, full of love, so much wisdom. I'm so excited. Not only did she train me as an aspiring model when I started my career, but her story, I know it's going to inspire so many individuals out there. Her heart, her passion for people. I think for me, she's one of the most amazing individuals. So loving, so passionate, so poised and beautiful. My goodness. Rachel, how are you?
I am good, my darling. I'm good. I know it's in the evening right now, so I'm not too sure what time people are going to be listening to your podcast. But yeah, just put my kids to sleep. So life still moves on, despite the fact that we have the once glamorous celebrity kind of lifestyle before.
Yeah, absolutely. And those gorgeous kids, I was looking at one of them the last time I saw you, and I was like, I see that Rachel in that beautiful face. They get it from their mama. It's the genes. It's the genes. So where you at in the season, before we even start unpacking your journey as to how you began your career as a model, where are you at in this season of 2024?
In this season, it's an interesting one because I'm currently, I'm going to be turning 47. So I'm very close to 50, which is a weird one because usually a lot of people aren't still modeling at this age, but I've been blessed to still be doing it. But despite that whole industry, my life has taken me in a very different trajectory from where I ever thought I would be. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I am a businesswoman. The nice part is that I was actually a surrogate. I gave birth 6 months ago. Yeah, my friends really wanted a baby. They'd been struggling for 13 years. So I actually gave them the gift of having a child of their own. So that was probably one of the most profound experiences, but the most fulfilling things I could have ever done in my life. I think it trumps any other success I've ever had for myself.
Sure. Yeah. What an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm not surprised, though, because everybody used to call you Mommy Rachel because you are such a nurturer. And what a blessing it is to be able to use yourself to serve someone else and literally show the love of God. I think that is really, really commendable. I honor you for that. Okay, so Rachel, when I met you, you literally, in the industry, you broke so many protocols, if I can put it that way. I remember you were one of the shortest girls to do high fashion. I just want to start from the beginning. Your journey began in entering a beauty pageant, and you ended up winning this pageant on this highest level. Can you take us through that journey? How old were you? Why you decided to enter that pageant?
I think that was one of the most exciting times of my life. I was 19, turning 20. I had actually just started work in a bank as a personal assistant. So people were shocked. They're like, this quiet girl is actually our, national pageant winner? That's crazy. The experience was amazing because besides just winning the pageant for my country, I got to go and represent my country at the Miss Universe on the world stage, and they had the pageant in Hawaii. And back then, this was in the 90s, travel wasn't open to a lot of people. And I got to go to the most amazing islands in Hawaii. We were treated like royalty. It was the best experience I probably could have had in my life. It was an eye-opener because, they say when you travel, it opens up your eyes and your mind. The experience in itself, my gosh, it's incomparable in terms of the growth that you go through in that whole month that you're away for that pageant. Best experience of my life.
Wow, that is so amazing. So I'm sure that culminated to you then making that transition to come to South Africa, because you must have been exposed to scouts, modeling agencies that were interested in who you are now. How was that journey transitioning from leaving your country to coming to South Africa to pursue a career in modeling?
I'll take you through it. It's an emotional one for me because I have to talk about one of the key players in my life who's actually was instrumental in me being here and having the success that I had. I started doing school pageants because our class has to nominate whoever's going to represent the class, and then from the class you go represent the school. And when I won the pageant that was for our school, I won a modeling contract, and it was for an agency called Medusa at the time. I started modeling when I was 16. And what happened was that the Miss Universe came through when I was 19, turning 20. So I had been modeling for 4 years, earning my money, doing my thing. I was really, really loving it. Did the pageant part of it. It was fantastic. I came back from the pageant, and my modeling agent said to me, I'm going to enter you into a modeling competition, not a pageant. And at the time, I know my director for the Miss Universe Zimbabwe pageant was very upset about it. She says, that's a downgrade for you to do something like that, to go from being a national pageant winner to going and entering a modeling competition. But my agent at the time was like, I am doing it. There's a reason why we have to do it. Nobody understood why. She entered me into that pageant. Like you said, I was the shortest, so chances of me winning are very, very slim. And the weirdest thing is that I actually didn't win that modeling competition. It used to be called Supermodel Zimbabwe. I didn't win the pageant, but the agency that was offering the modeling contract in South Africa, which was headed by Carl Eunice years later, he came up to me and he said that, you know what, you're too short for us to declare you the winner of the competition. However, I see so much potential in you. I would like to offer you a side contract. So there was only one contract up for grabs. He says, I'm going to make an exception and I'm going to offer you a contract as well. And that had never happened before. So I was thinking it was a conundrum for me because I'm thinking I want to make headway in the banking industry. This is where I want to go. And I said to her, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to take up this modeling contract in South Africa. It was a 3-month contract. I took it up. I took leave from the bank. I didn't leave the bank. Went for my 3 months. It went exceptionally well. Carl was then saying, are you sure you want to go back and work in a bank? You're really going to do well if you stay here. So I said, at the moment, I can't. I'm only on leave, annual leave. I can't just leave. I've got to hand in notice. I went back to my bosses, told them that, you know what, I'm going to be thinking about moving. And they said to me, sorry, we can't let you go. And they had initially declined my notice for me to leave. They said, we're not going to let you leave. Then they had a change of heart. They said, okay, normally you're supposed to give 1 month's notice, but unfortunately with you, it's currently March. Can you work for us until the end of the year? And then you can leave with our blessings. So I said, okay, fine. Because for me, it was like, okay, gives me time to wrap up and really figure myself out. And end of the year came, I handed in my notice and I moved to South Africa in 2000.
I'm just loving what you're saying right now. There's so much insight to just you sharing your journey, just your mindset and how you were disciplined and understood the protocols, if I can put it that way, of you being responsible as a career woman, going back to your job to say, listen, this is the journey I've decided to take. However, you understood your responsibilities as well. My goodness, this is what I'm hearing. Before you even pursue a career in modeling, test the waters. And I just love the part as well of you talking about your agent who saw the potential in you. We were in the same agency. And that's one thing about him, his level of honesty and also his ability to be able to walk with you and mentor you. There was such a reassurance even with me when I joined the agency that I knew that, you know what, this is my home. This person has got the best interest at heart for me. And also his credibility. He was a model before, so he understood challenges models would experience. And we were so privileged and honored. Tell me about your mindset. Whenever you faced those challenges of, you're beautiful, but you're short, how did that make you feel? And how did you overcome those challenges?
You know what the thing was, is that I think it gave me a very different perspective, because when you are tall, slim, beautiful, when you fit into the norm, you're competing against a lot of people. But when you're no longer in that box, you're actually competing against yourself. So for me, it was a case of, I know I'm short, doesn't matter to me. So if they're booking me, they're booking me. Why am I going to now compare myself to other people and say, oh, but she's taller. Why aren't you booking her, and bring myself down? No, I said to myself, you know what? It's nothing personal. They see potential in me. They see that I am what they want to associate their brand with. So who am I to now turn it down and say, oh, but I'm not tall enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not the slimmest of girls either. I'm your average kind of build. What it actually did was that is what solidified my confidence in the industry, was because I then realized that I'm not competing against all these other girls. I'm competing against myself. And that made me focus on the things that were important, which was work on my personality, work on my character, work on my professionalism, and work on my ability to deliver for the client.
I love that, because that is the key. Professionalism, learning and understanding good quality professional behavior, understanding communication skills, listening skills, all these soft skills really, really are almost like the sweet spot of a model. Knowing and understanding that this is a job more than anything.
It's your personality that cannot be compared to other people in the game. You say to yourself, let me make sure that I work on the things that are going to set me apart from the rest, so that when I go for that interview, they remember me and they are going to want me. And that's something I instill in my kids. And the same thing that I learned through the industry is that, you know what, because I'm competing against myself, make sure that whenever I put my name on anything, I am putting the best version of me at all times. No compromises on that.
I totally agree with you, Rachel. One of the pathways to greatness or sustainability or staying power in this industry is understanding that one has to work on their self-development plan, understanding these soft skills and applying them whenever the opportunity arises.
I think once I said to myself that I'm not competing against anybody, it allowed me to let go of any feelings of envy or jealousy to other models who were doing well. Because when you're competing against other people, when they book the job that you had gone for an audition for, you're like, oh man, I really wanted it and stuff. But once you start saying to yourself, it's nothing personal, they got booked because that's what the client wanted. And why should I be jealous and envious of them? No, I should be happy for them and celebrate their successes, but in it, learn and figure out what did they do in their audition or their performance that made them clock that job. If it was based on looks, fine, there's nothing much you can do about that. But sometimes performance factors that come into it where you say, maybe I need to brush up on some of my acting skills, or do this or do that. Those are growth moments for you.
That is so, so good. You know what, Rachel, I'm really wanting to also reiterate what you've just said. It's so important that you do not compete with anybody. Remember, we all are running our own race. The key here is to upskill yourself, to build yourself and learn, as you mentioned, what you need to do in order to improve on your next audition should you not get it. I remember we went to the same audition. It was for an alcoholic brand. And it came up to us two. Carl called me to say, listen, Sharon, it's between you and Rachel. I'm letting you know they are deliberating, and we'll get back to you. Then he called me back and he said, I got the job. I will never forget this, Rachel. You are one person that I really, really respect and honor, because you're not just a person who will say, hey, I'm here for you. You literally took time to call me to say, Sharon, congratulations. I just want to celebrate with you. The reason why I'm sharing this is because you mentioned the part of when one doesn't get the job, learn to celebrate other people. And that's what you did for me. I will never forget that, because that really just made you stand out as not just only a colleague, but someone who really, really has the best interest at heart for another. So thank you for that. Okay, let's talk about the training aspect. I remember when Carl wanted to send me to SA Fashion Week castings, he then recommended that I get training on a higher level. Although I did inform him that I had experience in modeling, I had gone to a modeling school, he mentioned to me that because he wants to position me on a higher level to be a runway model, there is a certain form of walk or a certain type of walk that the client wants. And what I loved about Carl, he was so result oriented, and that's when he recommended you to come and really assist me and teach me how to walk. And honey, can I tell you, your walk, I think that was like the sweet spot. That was the gold of your brand.
As short, as midgety as I was, I could walk the runway like nobody's business.
And that's a fact. That's a fact. And you trained me. What are your thoughts with regards to aspiring models getting training or mentorship to upskill themselves? How important is it, in your opinion?
It's critical. And you know what? I come from a very old school way of modeling where you couldn't call yourself a model unless you had gone to modeling school. And our modeling school wasn't to just do a quick modeling course. Skills that I got from when I was doing my modeling training, it's something that I wish that they could still implement today, but on a higher level. And there's nothing worse than seeing a model who can't walk in her heels, doesn't have a good strut, and you can see the lack of confidence because you can tell people who know how to walk and people who don't. There's some people who have the height, they have the looks, but they don't have the walk, and it lets them down. We were taught to make sure that you have everything in check. Your walk must be on flick, your hair, everything that goes with whatever part of the modeling industry you're going to be in needed to be on point. We had to learn how to do our makeup. They would teach us makeup skills based on trends, based on how to choose your colors, how to choose your foundations. We were taught life skills of how to carry yourself. It's not just how to walk on a ramp or how to take a pretty picture, which is your better side.
Indeed, I remember back then, styling yourself was a prerequisite. You needed to understand what colors work for you, what type of style works for your body shape. By having a model bag, that was a prerequisite. We were equipped with the necessary skills in order to be successful in this industry. And it all came through our agencies who understood and instilled that culture inside of us that modeling is a career. Wow. Oh, it's good going down memory lane. And I remember for me, even when my career took a turn, I started to have an interest in the fashion show production space. I remember whenever I'd be booked for shows, I'd sit backstage and just look at the operations side of how to put together a fashion show. And that really, really sparked and ignited something else in me, which was another journey for another day. I know with you as well, other opportunities arose whereby you were given an opportunity to be a presenter. Oh my goodness, I remember I was so envious, but I was too shy then. I was not going to be able to do what you did. How was that experience for you?
You know what? That was my late 20s going into my early 30s. And when these opportunities opened up for me, I had to grab the bull by the horns and say, you know what, I'm not going to let these opportunities go because so many people were trying to get onto TV just to be, even on a TV advert, let alone me being offered to be a TV presenter. It was amazing. But not only that, it opened up so many other avenues for me because besides just being a TV presenter, you become an MC whenever Channel O would be hosting gigs and parties and events. So there was that aspect. And if you're smart, you make sure that you keep your eyes open. Watch what's happening around you. Like you're saying, you found the avenue of being in production. Open your eyes and see, okay, I'm here on set. Okay, there's the cameraman, there's the director, there's the art director, there's set building, there's this. Open your eyes and start saying to yourself, what resonates with me? Is there something behind the scenes that might actually interest me when my time is up of being in front of the camera? So I learned public speaking through that because I was thrown in the deep end. Channel O told me, yo, you know what? Idols is hosting their parties in Kenya every weekend. Whenever someone gets evicted, you are going to go and be hosting those parties. I had never done anything in my life. And I'm a fairly shy person by nature. And I was just like, you know what? Why am I letting fear get in the way? Whoever is the best TV presenter now didn't start off knowing it all. They started from somewhere. So I'm going to go and I'm going to embrace the experience and I'm going to learn from all the other MCs and see how they do things. How do they memorize their script? You have to always be open to learning, because if you do not, you will not grow and your career will be short-lived, because then you've got nothing else to offer.
I really, really love your answers, Rachel, because they are so practical. And I'm hoping that anyone that's listening to this journey, this amazing story of yours, will really pick up the nuggets again of how to really become sustainable in this industry, because you are one of the models that I've approached who has such a plethora of experience, over 30 years of modeling experience. I'm definitely going to bring you back, but what would you say was, just reflecting on your journey, is your staying power?
Like I said in the beginning, it's about working on the skills that do not depend on the looks. Work on your personality, work on those kind of things, because you know what? When a client books you and they like you and they gel with you, what are the chances of them booking you again? Very high. So you'll find that it becomes word of mouth. People always are like, oh, you know what? You're looking for somebody to do this? I've got the perfect person. So you end up being referred all the time. And as long as you deliver, as long as you make your clients feel comfortable and make them feel like, you know what? I know I'm here to do work for you, but I am also here for myself because I'm here to represent myself. It's a two-way street here. So we both got to benefit from this. When you have that understanding, you say to yourself, you know what? I am no longer Rachel the model. I am Rachel the business. And I've got to make sure that I think of myself as a business and always look for ways to pivot, ways to grow, ways to better myself, and ways to make sure that I keep my clients happy. Because nothing is better than word of mouth.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, I have one last question. Suppose, there's that one individual that's listening to you and they're about to embark on the journey of modeling. You've gone ahead already. What would you like to leave with them so that whenever the experience of challenges come through or great work and so on comes forth, what would you like to tell them and help them to keep focus on as they embark on this journey?
I think there's a couple of things that come into play here. I think the first one is get to know yourself so that you understand what is your purpose. Once you know what you are in the industry to do, are you there just to look pretty on a billboard? Or are you there to impact the people that you are working with, inspire them? But if you do not understand your purpose, you are going to lose your way. You're going to get involved in the drugs. You're going to get involved in the partying. And once you know your purpose, you're always going to stay focused, because nobody's going to be able to deviate you. They'll try, but they're not going to be able to do that. And what you've also got to take into mind is that create realistic expectations for yourself. Back in the day, it wasn't necessarily feasible for people to have a modeling career. You had to have something else on the side. So think about that when you're entering the modeling industry, and don't say, oh, I'm going to be some supermodel. I'm going to be booking the $500,000 endorsements and stuff like that. Be realistic and say to yourself, if I go for 15 auditions in 1 month and I only get one job or none, how am I going to be able to survive? You have to always put your survival skills ahead of your passion for now, until your passion is able to take over survival skills and bring in an income that gives you the lifestyle that you want. Then you can start putting survival skill plans on park and you start pursuing your passion. But a lot of people are unrealistic. They want it all to materialize today, and it doesn't quite work like that. So create realistic expectations for yourself. Have something else lined up for you in case it doesn't work. Because remember, this industry is not anything personal. It could be that today, tall, dark, skinny girls like Sharon are booking all the jobs and us light-skinned girls are not. You don't know what the season is. But then that goes on to the next thing, which is keep up to date with trends. Know what's happening. See who's hot now. It's an influencer industry now. It's no longer necessarily for models or pageant winners. It's about being an influencer, and that's why your purpose has to come into it. But know what's on trend. Figure out who's doing it, why are they doing it, what's making them stand apart from the others. How can I make myself get to that level? And once you understand seasons, moments, trends, looks, all those kind of things, you start to build your vision board, start to build your plans, but you do so realistically, because the only thing that disappoints people is creating unrealistic expectations. Learn, observe, see how some people do things, and just always be learning. That's the key.
Wow. Wisdom personified. What an honor, what a privilege it is to just listen to the wisdom that has just come out of you. I'm actually reminded of a proverb which says, if you would like to know the old paths, ask those who have gone ahead of you. My goodness, Rachel, I'm definitely going to bring you back. So honored really to just hear from you, and I hope that anyone that's listening out there will learn from your experience. There's all the tools that are required for them to start this journey. Thank you so much once again for the honor and the privilege to come through and just share your life story. I appreciate you. I love you so much, Rachel. Shoo, I'm so excited. Well, that's the end of our episode 4. I'm looking forward to the next episode where I'll be bringing in another individual who will share their story as to how they began their career in modeling. Okay, bye for now.